Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, today we're diving into an account that is basically going to flip everything you thought you knew about near-death experiences completely upside down. We always hear these stories, right? People crossing over, seeing that warm, comforting white light, maybe feeling this overwhelming sense of peace. But what happens when that curtain is pulled back and the vision on the other side is just dark? I mean, really, really dark. Let's get right into this chilling, incredibly specific account of a terrifying near-death experience that totally shatters all of our normal expectations.
So, before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I want to ask you something. Do you truly know what awaits on the other side, and who exactly is watching you right now? It's a seriously unsettling thought, isn't it? I mean, we all just go about our daily routines, totally confident in our reality, hanging out with the people and the pets that we trust the most. But this explainer is going to take us through one woman's incredibly jarring revelation, one that suggests our reality and those little companions we share it with might actually be tied to something way more sinister than we could ever imagine.
The momentary death, crossing over and coming back. We're looking at a very specific incident here involving a friend's aunt. And to be clear, this isn't some ancient myth passed down through the centuries. No, this is a raw, very recent account of a woman who literally experienced a momentary death. She crossed that threshold, completely left the world of the living, and was then abruptly brought back. The source actually notes that the second she opened her eyes, tears just rolled down her face. I want us to really pause and sit with that for a second. This was not a peaceful awakening. She didn't just gently stretch and wake up from a nice nap. Her absolute first physical response to being back in the land of the living was uncontrollable weeping. That is a massive indicator of just how heavy and intense the psychological toll was from whatever she had just gone through on the other side.
And here's the thing that really gets me. She wasn't just confused or disoriented. She recounted the exact moments she was dead. That crystal clarity, that's what makes this whole thing so terrifying. It wasn't some hazy dream that just kind of faded away as she woke up. No, she had a sharp, undeniable memory of a terrifying near-death experience. She knew exactly what she was looking at during those moments her heart actually stopped beating. And what she saw was, well, in her own words, the devil.
The Golden Mountain Vision, meeting the devil. Now this is where the account takes a wild turn from a medical anomaly straight into pure, visceral horror. Because she didn't just feel some vague, spooky sense of dread, she came face to face with a highly detailed, super specific landscape that completely wrecks our cultural expectations. If I asked you right now to picture the devil, you'd probably think of classical art, right? A red guy with horns, holding a pitchfork, maybe some goat legs. But her account strips all of that folklore away. She visualized the devil not as a guy in a costume with props, but as a primal, monstrous beast, a completely raw, untamed manifestation of evil.
Let's look at the exact physical description she gave. A massive, bipedal canine. Just let that image construct itself in your mind for a second. A creature with the features of a wolf or a dog, but scaled up to this massive, imposing size and standing perfectly upright on two legs like a human. It's that unnatural posture, you know? That complete breaking of the natural order, a dog walking as a man. It taps directly into our deepest, most primal fears.
And then we have to talk about the eyes. The source explicitly mentions these piercing yellow eyes. Now, in the context of her vision, these aren't just some random anatomical detail. Think about what yellow eyes usually mean out in the wild. Predation, night hunters, something staring right at you from the pitch black. This massive, upright beast wasn't just standing there. It had this intense, unnatural gaze that basically cut right through her soul.
Now picture the environment around this beast. It was standing on top of a mountain of gold. I mean, this detail is just so incredibly vivid and honestly bizarre. It creates this super jarring contrast. On one hand, you've got this primal, terrifying canine monster, right? And on the other, this majestic, shimmering mountain of immense wealth. It frames this thing as a king, just reigning over this massive hoard of earthly riches down in the underworld. It's an absolutely terrifying yet strangely regal vision.
Okay, let's break down exactly how this agonizingly tense interaction played out, because this wasn't just a snapshot, it was a sequence of terrifying moments. Step 1, it slowly turns its head toward her. That sinking realization that you've just been spotted by something monstrous. Step 2, she is instantly hit with absolute terror and dread. Step 3, it actively acknowledges her presence.
She wasn't just some passive fly on the wall anymore. She was a trespasser who had absolutely just been caught. And finally, step 4, it growls. A deep, visceral auditory threat coming from this towering beast.
And right at that climactic moment, literally right as this terrifying canine growled at her, she felt herself being pulled back by death. The phrasing from the source is just so powerful here. She was yanked away from that golden mountain, away from the yellow-eyed beast, and slammed directly back into her physical body in the realm of the living. She barely, narrowly escaped this encounter.
The final warning, a message for the living. Think about it. When you return from an ordeal like that, what is the very first thing you say? What is that one most urgent piece of information you feel absolutely compelled to share with the people standing around your bed? The very moment she felt herself pulled back as she came back to life with those tears streaming down her face, she gave a final warning to her loved ones. And guys, this was not a sweet message of love or some assurance that everything was going to be okay. No, it was a desperate, frantic directive based entirely on the horrifying mechanics of the underworld she had just witnessed.
This perfectly illustrates the massive, shocking twist of her revelation. On one hand, we have our normal, everyday reality, right? Dogs as our sweet, loyal companions, man's best friend. But in the reality she claimed to discover on the other side, dogs are informants who tell your secrets to the devil. Remember the form the devil took in her vision? A massive bipedal canine. So suddenly, those cute little pets we share our homes with take on a deeply, deeply sinister context in her warning.
So, here is the absolutely crucial, actionable advice she gave to her family. She explicitly told them, do not tell your dogs where you're going when you leave the house. It's something pretty much all of us do casually, right? Like, hey buddy, be right back, just running to the grocery store. But her frantic warning was that you must absolutely never do this. Why? Because according to the terrifying knowledge she brought back from that golden mountain, they tell all of your secrets to the devil. The canine ruler she saw is apparently constantly gathering intelligence through the very animals we trust the absolute most.
I mean, it's a completely jarring perspective that kind of forces us to look at our daily routines through this lens of cosmic horror. We've explored a deeply unsettling momentary death, a genuinely terrifying vision of a bipedal canine ruling a golden mountain, and this bizarre warning that bridges that underworld right into our own living rooms, which leaves us with a pretty chilling question. Next time you leave the house, next time you look down at your loyal, wagging pet, what secrets is your dog holding? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this fascinating and chilling explainer today. Catch you next time.